Hello, this is Sarah Hardy at the University of Maine at Farmington, and this is the second part of a video that I had to cut in half on data transformations in regression. In the first video, it talked about how to do it using R Commander, and in this video, I talk about how to do the same thing but using just R without R Commander. Is what are the possible transformations? The one we just looked at was the exponential transformation. There's a log transformation. You can either log your x variable or your y variable or both. There's a square root transformation. The reciprocal transformation needs to go in this I function, a cap I. What this function says is as is, and you need to use that anytime there's an arithmetic operator in the transformation itself. So we need to use that cap I here for that, and also this last one is really a quadratic model, so in the quadratic piece of it you also have to put that in the I function, or the as is function. Okay. So back to what I was talking about was just using regular R instead of R Commander to do this. So what I'm suggesting is that you, first of all, open up a new script window. Okay, you might have to have your cursor in the regular console window to do that. So new script, it'll pop open a blank script here. Notice this script window is exactly like this script window. And in fact, you could do what I'm going to show you in this script window. The only advantage to using this one is that it's bigger, and we can stretch it out and see what's going on. Okay, so to get you started on this, I have posted on my website a starter script. So I'm suggesting that you go over there. Okay, so open up the starter script and copy it into your R script. Okay, so just some comments about script files. First of all, anything that follows a pound sign is just a comment. It's not processed by R. Whenever it sees a pound sign, it just skips whatever comes after that. This is really helpful for writing little notes in your script files to explain to yourself what you were doing, or to others who you might be sharing the script file with. Okay, so the first line I have in the script file says attach XYDF. This is not completely necessary. What happens if you attach a data set is that R knows that that's the data set that you want to go to, and that any variables that you mention, it should go there to look for them. That saves you the step of always having to put in the data set name and then the variable name. Okay? Or telling it in some other way. Another way you could do it is data equals XYDF. However, that doesn't work with the plot command. So to keep things easy, I'm just attaching it, and then we can just use the variable names here without telling R what data set. Okay. My next line here is one we've talked about before. I want to put 4 plots in my plotting window, and I want it to be in a grid that has 2 rows and 2 columns. Okay. Now, the first lines that I have here, I'm going to select those. Well, first of all, I want to select all of them. Okay. And I'm going to highlight them and run it. And after I've done that, I now see that here's my scatter plot. It's not quite as fancy as the one that we see in R Commander. And here's my residual plot. Okay, so now I want to do that exponential transformation. So what I'm suggesting is that you just take these lines, copy them, paste them down here, and modify them to whatever transformation you want to use. Now, there's two places that you have to modify it, both in the linear model statement and in the plotting statement. Okay. And so now I'm going to highlight that and run it. Okay. You'll see that the plots, now they pop up, they're all on the same page, so you can see the original data, the original residual plot, the new scatter plot, and the new residual plot. It's all in one place, and that was much quicker than doing all these plots separately with R Commander and then cutting and pasting them into some sort of grid like this in a Word file. So the reason I'm really suggesting this is only just for efficiency. I think this is the easiest way. And so in the starter file, I then have already laid out for you all the other variable pairs that for you to do transformations with. Okay, so after you have the first one done, then you can go down to the second variable pair and do the same thing. You're going to highlight it. Okay. You're going to look at what sort of pattern does this suggest that you might want to do transformation. You can, again, copy it, modify it for some transformation, and for your convenience, I have those, again, listed all up here, so you can actually do some cutting and pasting there if you want. And then you'll, after doing the transformation, again, and of course mine are the same because I didn't do a transformation. The thing I did want to point out is that if you ever get your plots out of sync, like you run two of them at extra time or something, you can just always go back up to this power command and run it again, and that will reset your plotting window anytime you do that. Okay, so I think that is about everything that I have to say for this video. So thank you for watching. Bye.